It is officially fall here on the farm, and the last few days have been absolutely beautiful. It's been in the 60s and 70s, so we have been enjoying lots of time outside. The kids and I have already been apple picking, so we've started checking things off of our fall bucket list. I finally had my first fall drink. I made a pumpkin spice coffee and it was delicious. And yes, I am one of those people that I actually wait until fall to start doing all the fall things because we're just still busy with summer things when it's summer. We actually just had our last hay cutting this past week, and just this past week there were a couple days when it was in the 90s, so it was warm enough to swim. We did go swimming last weekend, and now today it feels very fallish because it's in the 60s, which is just gorgeous. So tonight for dinner, I had been planning on making white chicken chili. This is something I made many times and I always love it. It's always delicious, but I have a ton of winter squash coming in from the garden. So I'm gonna try something new, and I'm gonna roast a pumpkin here, make a little pumpkin puree, add that into my chicken chili and call it pumpkin chicken chili. We will see how this turns out, you guys. I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping it's a keeper, but if it's not, then I just won't post it to the blog. So we shall see. I'm just gonna take you guys along with me as I try something new. It's the weekend right now. It's Saturday afternoon, going into evening, and I usually don't make any videos on the weekends, but my husband took all the kids. He even took the baby, and he is down brush hogging in one of our fields. He has the baby in the skid steer, and then the kids are in the Ranger, probably picking up things. I don't know, they're helping him out. So it's just me in the house. So I figured I'm gonna make good use of my time and do some prepping for tomorrow, which is Sunday. That way we can enjoy our day of rest fully. Tomorrow after church, we have a fellowship brunch meal, and our church meals are always so much fun. Everybody comes and brings food, so I need to figure out what I'm going to make for that. I'm going to make a huge batch of this chili. That way we can have it tonight, and then we'll just have it, it'll be ready for tomorrow as well. And oh yes, I am going to make a batch of marshmallows. That way I have them in the fridge for this week for my pumpkin spice coffee that I will enjoy every morning this week. So I'll show you guys, I'll just take you guys along as I do all of that. My little couple hours of meal prep here on a Saturday evening. I forgot to label my pumpkin varieties in the garden yet again this year. I guess I could look at my seed packet, but moral of the story is I forgot which kind of pumpkin this is. Oh well, it tasted really good. So to roast a pumpkin, just cut it in half, scoop out your seeds and save them for drying and planting next year, or you can roast them and eat them too, and then roast at 400 for 30-45 minutes until it's golden brown on the top. Then take it out and let it cool. I have never written down my recipe for chicken chili. It's always about the same though. I just rough chop some veggies, some onion, garlic. By the way, this is the easiest way to get the skin off a clove of garlic. Just press down with the back side of your knife and it comes right off, in case you guys didn't know. So I'm just gonna brown all of that in some butter, and doing a little multitasking while that's going. I'm gonna get my pie crust started here. By the way, yeah, that's what I'm making for church tomorrow. I'm going to make apple pie. So you guys have seen me make my sourdough discard pie crust before a few times in videos. It's my go-to. It's a classic, so that's what I am making once again. By the way, all the recipes that I make in this video, I will link in the description below for you guys. Some of them I have on my blog, some on Instagram, but I'll put all the links below. I make a lot of pies, sweet and savory, and I don't really use recipes. In fact, it's a good thing I have a blog because it kind of forces me to document my recipes so I can actually duplicate them, because I'm terrible about making things and then not writing down the recipe, and then I just can't get it to be exactly the way it was the first time I made it. Anyway, I'm about finished with preparing this pie crust for now. I'll put it in the fridge and let it chill while I get back to making my chili. A key component to chicken chili and a staple in my house always is bone broth. I think this was chicken broth that I had actually had on the stove, so I'm just straining out the bones and stuff and gonna add it straight into my onion and garlic that I had going earlier, adding in my celery, carrots here, and also, of course, my chicken. I try to cut down on dishes and do everything in one pot. My chili is on the stove, right back there behind me, and my pie crust is in the fridge chilling. And you know, it's getting kind of late, so I'm actually trying to decide. I'm not sure if I'm gonna bake my apple pie. Did I tell you guys that earlier? I can't remember. So I think I'm gonna bring some apple pies. I can't remember if I said that earlier. But anyway, I just went ahead and got my pie crust going. That's chilling. I might bake it tonight. I might wait and bake it in the morning. I always get up early on Sunday mornings because if I don't, then I'm just running around like a mad woman. So I just separated 8 eggs here. That's just what I had left in the kitchen before the kids went and collected eggs. So I separated the yolks and the whites, and with the egg whites, I am going to be making marshmallows. And the egg yolks I will save and add a little bit each morning into my coffee. So I'm gonna show you guys how I make marshmallows. I love marshmallows, so it's really nice to have a recipe for marshmallows that are actually healthy. And this just goes really well with egg yolk coffee. I get asked a lot, what do I do with the egg whites when I use so many egg yolks in coffee or custard? Well, this is a great way to use up lots of egg whites. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do with egg whites, but this is just one good way. And if you really do want to make these marshmallows actually healthy, it's important to use a good quality gelatin. So I'll link the one that I use below, and I do have a discount. I think it's like 15% off, so I'll link that for you guys. I use maple syrup, but you can use sugar or powdered sugar too. So keep that in mind. My egg whites are ready here. You can see they're nice and stiff. So I'm just gonna add some vanilla into my sugar gelatin or maple syrup gelatin mixture. There, I kind of brought that to a boil just a little bit. Now I'm gonna mix that right on into my egg whites and beat that until it's nice and fluffy, and that's it. All right, my marshmallows are all finished and they look fabulous. So I'm just gonna pour this into a pie dish. You can use any kind of baking dish or container, but you need to pour your marshmallows into something to then put them in the fridge and let them chill and set up before you cut them and actually use them. Okay, I changed my mind. That pie dish wasn't big enough, so I just have a 9x13 here. It doesn't really matter, whatever you want to use. These take a few hours to set, so I'll actually just let these set up overnight, and they'll be ready in the morning when I want to make myself a delicious coffee. Now I need to shred my chicken. If you guys are not using a stand mixer to shred chicken, you are missing out. It is much more efficient than shredding with a fork. Obviously a fork will do if that's all you've got, but it just works much better and much quicker. All right, so that just took maybe like 30 seconds. You guys can see it's perfectly shredded chicken, so you probably knew that trick. If you didn't, now you know. And I'm gonna put my chicken back in my pot there with everything else, add my beans, my seasonings, and then my pumpkin just came out of the oven, so I need to scrape that out and kind of puree that, add that in, and then let it simmer for a few minutes. I think we should be about finished. I'm just finishing up my chili here, adding in my beans, and of course, all of my seasonings. I recently reorganized my spice drawer and got those little wooden airtight lids for my mason jars, and I really like them. They work really well and they're nice and pretty. All right, well, there you go. That is pretty much it. Oh, one last thing. I forgot, I have to add my pumpkin. So I'm just gonna scoop it out and puree it. I added a little heavy cream in there. Pour that in, let it simmer just a little while longer to really develop some flavor, and that's it, ready to go. The pumpkin chicken chili was indeed very good, so it will be on my blog after all. All right, I actually waited until the next morning to bake my apple pie. I had my pie dough chilling, so it really wasn't that big of a deal to just make the pie filling while I was preparing breakfast anyway. I got up early, got ready, and yeah, just did this while I was making breakfast. So I made a lot of pie filling because I wanted to have some left over for an idea I had for another recipe that I will share with you guys probably on the next video. Anyway, pie filling is easy to make. I mean, it's just apples, a little lemon juice, some flour. I use a mix of brown sugar and white sugar. You don't have to do that. You can do one or the other. I put a little vanilla, a little salt, some cinnamon and nutmeg, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Add it into my apples, mix together really well, and then simmer for like 15-20 minutes. You want your apples to be tender, but not like mush and totally falling apart. So you can see we're all working in the kitchen, getting breakfast going, and making my apple pie here for church, and got my Sunday morning coffee, of course. You can see, very exciting. The marshmallows are ready there as well. Such a great way to top off your coffee. There you have it. Delicious, and the kids really like them too, so it's a good healthy, high protein snack. All right, moving on to rolling out my pie dough here. I really love making apple pies. It's just a fall classic. This is a little trick I do to keep the edges of my pie crust even. By the way, I kind of fold it over halfway through and then finish rolling it out. That way the edges aren't all jagged, I guess is the right word. It's more smooth. So just gonna do a quick measure there with my pie dish, and then start getting my crust ready to assemble my apple pie. This worked out perfectly. I had leftover pie filling that like I mentioned, I'm going to save that and make something else delicious. I'm rolling out the second half of my pie dough for my recipe here on top. Then I'm going to fold and tuck all that under and crimp my edge, which I'll slow down here in just a second and show you guys how to do it. Finishing up here, just about finished. Nothing too fancy, but still pretty. All right, now into the oven to bake for about 45 minutes, and we will eat breakfast while this is baking. You can see the last pancake finishing up there. And then once I pull my pie out, we've eaten breakfast by now. Pulling my pie out, and we need to get going off to church. All right, my pie is ready to go, and we need to leave. We need to get in the car and head to church. So I'm going to put this in something and we're gonna head out. But thank you guys for watching again this week. Be sure to click subscribe, hit the like button before you go. I make new videos every week, so I'll see you guys next time.